Welcome back to Coloring Through the Bible. My name is Keegan Harkins, and today we're taking a look at the second chapter in the book of Exodus. This is the story of the birth of Moses, and most of us know the story of his mother putting him in a basket and placing him in the Nile. We've heard how Pharaoh's daughter rescued him and even hired Moses' mom to nurse him and take care of him until he was 3 years old. But what I want to focus on is how God trained Moses, even before he commissioned him to lead his people into the promised land. See, Moses was raised as the son of Pharaoh's daughter. However, he knew that he was a Hebrew, and we can tell this in his reaction to seeing the Egyptian beating the Hebrew in verses 11 and 12. But the Bible doesn't tell us much about the life of Moses while he was still living as the grandson of Pharaoh. Well, fortunately, the ancient Jewish historian Josephus does. In his book, The Antiquities of the Jews, Josephus writes that Moses was educated with great care. He was a well-educated man. And he also writes that Moses was chosen by Pharaoh to be the commander of the army when the nation of Ethiopia attacked Egypt. Moses used intelligence and diplomacy to end the invasion and bring peace. So if we ever wonder how God prepares us for what he's called us to do, we only need to think about Moses. If Moses' parents could have picked the perfect childhood for their son, I don't think that they would have included putting him in a basket and keeping their fingers crossed that an alligator didn't eat him. I don't think that they would have picked having him taken away from them and being raised as someone else's son. And maybe they would have wanted him to have gotten the best education, but at what cost? See, the story of Moses' life reminds us that things may not always go the way we want them to go. They may not always go the way we have planned. But God knows what he's doing, even if we can't understand his reasons, or we can't see past the pain or the injustice of what's going on. God's preparing us for what he's calling us to do. Moses' entire life, even his life as a middle-aged man, after he kills the Egyptian and Pharaoh seeks to kill him, he runs off into the desert. We're going to read about that later. But he lives in the desert, tending sheep. That's also preparing him for what God's called him to do. So Moses had a unique calling, and he needed to be educated. He needed to be educated not only, not just in hieroglyphics and math and things like that, but he needed to be educated in ruling a country, and that's what he got in the home of Pharaoh. He needed to know how to command hundreds of thousands of people. And he got that training because Pharaoh thought, well, this could be the Hebrew that prophecy says is going to overthrow me and take away my slaves. So I'm going to put him front lines and maybe he won't survive. That's what Josephus says. So he may have been placed in that position as a way of causing him pain and hoping that it would cause him pain. But he actually learned a tremendous amount. God was training him to be a leader. And long before he ever had to listen to the griping and the complaining of the Israelites in the desert, God taught him how to be a diplomat, how to ease tension with humility, how to end strife in a fair way. Every part of our life adds color to the palette that God uses to paint our story. We can't take away all the bad times and just keep the good times. We can't take away all the good times and keep the bad times. Every part is needed because everything we go through makes us the person that we are. And the person that we are is the person that God chooses to use. So today, as you go about your life, I just want you to to join me in paying attention to what God's trying to teach me. Let's just open our eyes and be open to the training that God is giving us every day, because the lessons we learn today will be important tomorrow, and the lessons we learned yesterday are important today. So let's just resolve and be encouraged by the life of Moses to pay attention and to make the most of every opportunity, because one day it might just mean the difference between our success or a failure. I hope you've been encouraged today, and I look forward to talking to you later. Have a truly blessed day.